Did you know that China produced a new billionaire every 5 days in 2021? Or that 60% of global economic growth came from China in the last decade? What's behind this explosive success? Today, we're diving deep into the world of Chinese business practices. So, buckle up because you're in for some surprises. In our hyper-connected world, understanding how Chinese entrepreneurs and businesses operate isn't just interesting, it's essential. We're about to unveil the secrets that have propelled China to become an economic powerhouse. So, are you ready to level up your global business game? Because today I'll take you to how do Chinese people do business? If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that little notification bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our video updates. Plus, it helps us spread the Thrive Wise love to help more people thrive wisely. Now, let's begin. Now, let's talk real talk. Doing business with Chinese companies can feel like navigating a maze blindfolded. But why? Because the rules of the game are totally different. First off, there's the language barrier. Mandarin isn't exactly a walk in the park for most Westerners, but it goes way deeper than just words. We're talking about a whole different way of thinking and communicating. Then there's the concept of face. No, not your actual face. We're talking about reputation and social standing. In Chinese business culture, preserving face is crucial. One wrong move and you could unintentionally insult your potential partner. And let's not forget about the infamous guanxi, that complex web of relationships and favors that oils the wheels of Chinese business. Without it, you're basically trying to drive a car without engine oil. And don't even get me started on the role of the government in business dealings. It's a whole other ballgame compared to what most Westerners are used to. These challenges have left countless foreign businesses scratching their heads, or worse, packing their bags after failed ventures. But don't worry. Understanding these differences is the first step to mastering the art of doing business Chinese style. So without further ado, it's time to dive into the deep end of the Chinese business pool. But don't worry, I've got your water wings ready. Let's start with the big kahuna of the Chinese business culture, guanxi. Now if you're thinking Gesundheit, hold your horses. Guanxi isn't something you sneeze. It's the lifeblood of Chinese business relationships. Imagine you're playing a game of Monopoly, but instead of properties, you're collecting connections. That's guanxi in a nutshell. It's a complex web of relationships, favors, and obligations that makes the old boys network look like a kindergarten playgroup. Also, fun fact, a study by the China-Britain Business Council found that 62% of UK businesses believe guanxi is very important for doing business in China. The other 38% probably haven't figured out why they're losing yet. But here's the kicker. Building guanxi isn't as simple as handing out business cards like confetti at a New Year's party. Oh no, it's more like tending a bonsai tree. It takes time, patience, and a whole lot of precision trimming. You might be invited to endless banquets where the real business happens between bites of sea cucumber. Yes, it's a delicacy, and no, it doesn't taste like chicken. Or you could find yourself singing karaoke with potential business partners at 2 a.m. So here's a pro tip. Your rendition of My Heart Will Go On might just seal the deal or sink it faster than the Titanic. Now, let's talk about negotiation styles. If you're used to Western style negotiations where everything is laid out on the table, prepare for a culture shock. Chinese negotiations are more like a game of poker, with a dash of interpretive dance thrown in for good measure. In Chinese business culture, direct confrontation is about as welcome as a porcupine in a balloon factory. Instead, communication often relies heavily on indirect language and nonverbal cues. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. You need to feel your way through it. For instance, in a Chinese negotiation, Maybe often means no. Well, think about it, translate to not a chance, and silence, well, silence could mean anything from I'm considering it to I'm plotting your downfall. Fun, right? A Harvard Business Review study found that while American negotiators tend to lay out their positions clearly from the start, Chinese negotiators often prefer to reveal information gradually. It's less cards on the table and more 52 pickup. And here's a nugget of wisdom for you. In Chinese business culture, the journey is often more important than the destination. While Westerners might be itching to sign on the dotted line, Chinese business people are more focused on building a long-term relationship. It's less let's make a deal and more The Bachelor, business edition. Next on, let's climb the corporate ladder and talk about hierarchy. In Chinese business culture, hierarchy isn't just important. It's more sacred than the last slice of pizza at a staff meeting. Picture a corporate structure that's more rigid than a starched collar in the Sahara. That's Chinese business hierarchy for you. Age and rank are respected with an intensity that would make your high school principal blush. Here's a jaw dropper for you. In many Chinese companies, it's not uncommon for employees to stand up when their boss enters the room. And no, I'm not talking about a stretch break. It's a sign of respect that's as ingrained in the culture as fortune cookies are in, well, Chinese American restaurants. Plot twist, they're not actually Chinese. Even decision making in this hierarchical system is about as bottom up as a game of Simon Says. The big boss at the top usually has the final say, and questioning their decision is about as advisable as poking a sleeping dragon. But wait, there's more. Remember how I mentioned the government's role earlier? Well, buckle up because we're diving into the fascinating world of government relations in Chinese businesses. In China, the line between business and government is about as clear as a foggy day in London. The government isn't just a referee in the business game. It's often a player, coach, and team owner all rolled into one. State-owned enterprises, or SOEs, are a huge part of the Chinese economy. We're talking about companies where the government holds a controlling stake. Imagine if the DMV decided to start a tech company. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. According to a report by the OECD, SOEs and state-controlled enterprises account for over 60% of China's market capitalization. That's more government involvement than a public library knitting circle. But even private companies in China need to master the art of government relations. It's less about lobbying and more about aligning with government objectives faster than a weather vane in a tornado. Also, here's a mind bender for you. In many Chinese companies, there's a role called the party secretary. No, they're not in charge of office birthday parties. This person represents the Communist Party within the company. It's like having a hall monitor, but for ideology. Now let's sprinkle in some tech talk. Because let's face it, you can't discuss modern Chinese businesses without mentioning their tech revolution. China has leapfrogged from a manufacturing-based economy to a digital powerhouse faster than you can say WeChat Pay. Speaking of WeChat, let me blow your mind. This super app is like Facebook, WhatsApp, Apple Pay, Uber, and your favorite food delivery app had a baby. And then that baby grew up and became president. It's that big. In fact, a day in China without WeChat is like trying to function without opposable thumbs. It's theoretically possible, but why would you want to? This tech revolution has given birth to a new breed of Chinese entrepreneurs. They're young, they're hungry, and they're changing the game faster than you can update your iPhone. To help you understand better, I'll give you an example. Let me tell you about the time Starbucks cracked the code of the Chinese market. Now, you'd think selling coffee in the land of tea would be like trying to sell ice to Eskimos, right? But Starbucks pulled it off with more finesse than a barista creating latte art. The secret is that they didn't just transplant their American model. They steeped themselves in Chinese culture like a perfect cup of oolong. First, they recognized the importance of third places in Chinese society, spaces between work and home for socializing. They designed larger stores with comfy seating, perfect for long chats or business meetings. Talk about guanxi central. Then they adapted their menu faster than you can say venti soy latte. Red bean frappuccinos, anyone? They even created a special Starbucks reserve line to appeal to Chinese love. They invested heavily in their employees, or partners as they call them. In a culture where hierarchy matters, they offered clear career paths and even subsidized housing for parents of long-term employees. And the result? Starbucks now opens a new store in China every 15 hours. Now that's what I call brewing success. Navigating Chinese business culture is like mastering an intricate dance. But all you need to remember is that relationships are key, indirect communication is an art form, hierarchy matters, and the government's always part of the equation. Master these steps, and you'll be waltzing your way to success in the Middle Kingdom. Also, what's the craziest cultural misunderstanding you've encountered in international business? Was it a handshake gone wrong? A gift-giving faux pas? Or maybe an accidental insult? Share your story below and let's learn from each other's oops moments. And well, that's basically how do Chinese people do business? And thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And hey, it seems that YouTube thinks that the next video can completely transform your financial situation. Watch it to find out whether they're correct. And please don't forget to click the subscribe button to see more videos on how to thrive wisely. Till next time.